What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another adventure. Today we're out here at the Chattahoochee River campground, and this is not what I had planned for today. I had actually planned to hike up into the Blood Mountain Wilderness and do some bushwhacking up to Blood Mountain Creek Falls and Crow Mountain Falls. But I went there first this morning and the gate to get into the place was closed, and I was already looking at a couple mile bushwhack. I could have parked at the gate and hiked on around, but it would have been another couple miles, and I'm already several hours from home, so I just really didn't have the time. You know, if I was gonna do that, I should have left earlier. Anyways, two videos ago, I hiked to Shadow Creek Falls in the Cohuttas, and I had mentioned in the book that in the video that I had these books called The Wayward Travelers, Waterfalls and Back Roads. This is actually the book that I used for that hike. And then I also have one for Tennessee. I haven't done anything in this book yet. But this book is actually where I got the idea for Blood Mountain Creek Falls, and then it talks about Crow Mountain in here as well. There's actually a waterfall up here called Trough Falls, and I've been trying to get to this waterfall for like probably 4 or 5 years now, maybe even longer, maybe 6 years. And the road coming in from the upper side and coming in from Low Gap Campground has been closed. There was a bad storm that came through the area several years ago, and there's a couple landslides, a bunch of trees down. And Forest Service just basically said, we don't know when it's going to be open again. We're going to close it indefinitely. I didn't realize how remote this campground is. I turned in to the Forest Service road off of 17 above Helen, and it was 5 miles to this gate for the campground. And we're pretty far back up in here in these woods, and the gate to the campground's closed. There's no other cars here. I have no idea how far this road goes back up in here. This is the first time I've ever been here. So yeah, you guys come along for the adventure. So I guess one of the perks to living in North Georgia is you get beautiful weather like this in February. Although I must admit that I'm not really ready for it to be this warm yet. So they do have a day use parking area here, and it looks like this is probably the main trailhead for the falls. So it's not been too bad of a hike to get here. It's all flat gravel road. Once again, I forgot to turn my watch on to see how far. If I had to guess, probably quarter to half a mile back here. On the way out, I will track it to see how far it is. So this trail is really well blazed with green blazes, and really nice bridge here. Looks like they've kept it in pretty good shape around this area. I would assume they would have to with as much traffic as it probably sees. All right, so I see the viewing deck up there already, and I can hear and I can actually see the waterfall now. So I mean, that wasn't even 100 yards from where the gravel left, or from where the trail left the gravel back there at the roundabout. Super easy to get to. Viewing deck looks like it's in pretty good shape, and the best part, there's no one else out here, so I have the area to myself. I can set my tripod up, set my camera up, take some long exposures. The falls is kind of shaded, and the sun has got different spots of the falls lit up, so I'll definitely be using an ND filter today, and the way it's set up, it should actually make for some really nice pictures. And I just wanted to say real quick that a couple weeks ago on the Shadow Creek or Shadow Falls video, I was just kind of spouting off a bunch of information whenever I was shooting, and a lot of that information wasn't correct. I kept talking about f-stopping down to get more of a silky look. It's actually not true. You want to f-stop up, so the higher number that you go, the smaller it makes that aperture, and then therefore that allows you to be able to slow your shutter down to allow more light in and get that silky look. I feel like that people watch YouTube videos and they get instructions, and I just want to point out that my instructions aren't always accurate. I'm still fairly new to photography myself, so a lot of the things that I'm saying is something that I recently learned that I'm trying to do. So just keep in mind that if you see things on here and you hear me say things, they might not always be correct, and if I realize it in the editing, I'll address it like I'm doing now. So just know that that Shadow Falls video, there was some things I was saying in there about f-stopping down, and I didn't have my tripod like I do today, but just know that I realized it, and so I'm making it right now. Set up on 2 seconds because that's what I was shooting at the last waterfall I went to. We're gonna try to shoot at probably less than a second to begin with, and then we'll start creeping up to see what we can get as far as making it look silky. We made it to this area. I'm gonna shoot from right there first, standing on that rock. It's a pretty good shot of the falls. And then I'm gonna move right over here maybe and take some more pictures, but I think it's a pretty good area right here. Stopped out at about f16, quarter second on the shutter. Yeah, that's a much better looking picture right there. All right, so I managed to get some pretty good shots running the 35, but I've got it zoomed down to about 18 millimeters, and f-stopping it around 18 and anywhere from a quarter to a half a second with the ND filter, making it run pretty silky. I'll clean it up in light work and show you guys the finished picture here. All right, now that you guys seen the finished picture, we're gonna probably head back over to the viewing deck, get things packed back up. So we made it to Double Culvert Branch, and this is the tributary that's gonna hold Double Culvert Falls up this little side goat path here. Don't know how far up it is. I've seen this area, I've drove by it before. I thought it looked really cool. I've never hiked it though. I was reading the description and it says that it's like a 0.3 mile hike, so not very far at all. It's kind of steep, kind of slippery, so we'll see what we can get ourselves into. So we're about 3/4 of the way there now. You can see the waterfall up there. And this waterfall here, I guess that's why it's called double Culvert Falls. It is a pretty tough climb up here. It's not the hardest thing I've ever done, but there is a lot of boulder hopping back and forth across the creek because of how steep the banks are on the sides. And it looks like it's just gonna get pretty steep up through here, so I'll get back with you guys when we get up to the top. All right, so we made it up about as far as what I'm gonna go. I've got enough room to set up a tripod right here, but there's the falls there. Again, this is double Culvert Branch Falls, just outside of Helen, up near the Chattahoochee River. It's about a mile just shy of Low Gap Campground. We got set up here. I'm gonna rock it in manual mode again. That's about the only mode I shoot in. Right now it looks like we're shooting, I took some pictures earlier coming up, so I've changed the settings from what we were shooting at the other waterfall at Horse Trough. And so it looks like this one's gonna be, let's see, we're running at about 24 millimeters right now. Let's see, f-stop, we're stopping out at about 14, and we're running about a 1/60th on the shutter speed. Another problem trying to look at the LCD screen to see what you're shooting while you're in the sun doesn't work out the best either, so some of these pictures are probably going to look a lot better once I get it into a dark room and I can actually see what I shot. I'm going to call that good with these guys. Got quite a lot of pictures. We'll head back down to the car and see if we can't find us another waterfall to hit today. You guys stay tuned. Crazy dog. Chased me on the way in and chased me on the way out. I don't know. Crazy people didn't take care of their dogs. Keep them from running all over everywhere. See, High Shoals Falls. Okay, so this looks like it's right. High Shoals Falls Trail is red. I mean, High Shoals Falls Spur Trail is green, and then High Shoals Falls Trail is purple. So once we get on up there, looks like it's gonna be a little spur trail off, but once we get out of here, it'll be a 2.5 or so hour drive back to the west side of the state. And yeah, so let's get after it. Oh, I almost forgot, while I've got a second, we're walking down here, that last waterfall we was at, Double Culvert Branch Falls, I didn't mention that I would show you guys what the finished edited photo would look like, so I'm gonna go ahead and insert that here. What I was hearing wanting the waterfall, there's some rapids over here next to this campsite, and I guess just for whatever reason they were echoing perfectly down through the hollow. Just came across the bridge and we're down in the valley now, so maybe it's probably a pretty flat hike. It might be a little bit of an incline, or we might gain a little bit of elevation when we get right to the falls. But we basically came from way up there. The sun's about to actually drop behind the hill where we parked, so I packed my jacket because being down in this gorge and the sun dropping, the temperature will probably start dropping pretty quickly. So right back there where that little deck is the Spur Trail, and the Spur Trail goes to the top of the waterfall. I'll probably check it out on the way back, but I want to be down at the bottom to be able to shoot back up towards the falls. And it looks like we're about to drop down a lot of elevation right here to get there. That's okay. Maybe it'll take us down some switchbacks instead of trying to bushwhack straight down the hill, but either way, we'll get there. And we dropped off down in this valley. It got dark down in here, and it's already probably 10 degrees cooler, so I'm glad I brought that my jacket. But I think we're about to come right out to the fall right now, and just from what I'm seeing, this doesn't look like anything that I've seen on pictures on the internet. But all right, so here we go. Wow, holy crap. Man, am I glad that I made this hike. That is amazing. Alright, so we're going to get set up to take some pictures. I'm probably going to put my jacket on. That one went straight into my face. Cold. But yeah, let's do this. Alright, so got set up, running the 35, but even running the 35, I'm zoomed all the way out to 18. I'm all the way up on it. So I think I'm going to see if I can't maybe get down there in the water on that rock or something and shoot back upstream to get a really good view of it. So I'll stay tuned. Anyways, so that's kind of the setup right there. I was standing on that rock shooting back towards the falls. Kind of sketchy leaving my camera there, but it is what it is. I guess if it takes off downriver, I'll try to grab it and hopefully be able to salvage the SD card. This is actually a really awesome place right here. This is Swallow Creek WMA. I've never been here before, but I will definitely be coming back. My wife and kids would love to see this, so that's going to be on the bucket list, I think, to do very, very soon, is bring them back here. Hopefully before spring gets here and all the day hikers are out. It's really nice to be able to enjoy an area when there's not 4,000 people here. This waterfall is really awesome. I'm glad that I decided to make the hike down, even though I was almost giving up for the day and driving back 2 hours home. It was a good choice I made to come down here. I'll insert the pictures from the editor now. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this adventure as much as I did. I hope that I can help some people live vicariously through my adventures that maybe can't get out and do that much for whatever the reason may be. But time to hike up out of this gorge now and get back to the car. And so that's going to be it for this one, guys. I will catch you on the next one.